Good morning, family. My name is Elmer. I'm an assistant pastor here at your church and also a future church planter for the state of Loreto, Baja California Sur. And I want to welcome you to today's good news. Today, I will be talking about the trials in our lives. I will be sharing from Proverbs 24, verse 10. And this is a proverb of wisdom from King Solomon. But first, speaking of trials, this reminds me of another not so true trial that takes place in a courtroom. And this is of a person named Ted, a farmer, that had been in a car accident with a big semi truck. And the company's attorney was questioning him. The lawyer says to him, "Ted, didn't you say at the moment of the accident that you were fine?" Ted then responded, "Well, I'll tell you what happened. You see, what happened is that I had just loaded Bessie, my favorite mule, and when the lawyer quickly interrupts and says, 'Judge, I'm just trying to establish the fact that Ted said that he was fine at the scene. Now, several weeks later, he's trying to sue my client. I think he's a fraud. Please tell him to answer yes or no.'" The judge says, "You know what? No, I'm interested to hear what he has to say." Ted again starts, "Well, I had just loaded my favorite mule, Bessie, in the trailer, and we're driving down the road when this huge semi runs a stop sign, hits the side of my truck, and I was thrown into a ditch and Bessie into another ditch. I was hurt real bad. But then a highway patrolman came. He seen Bessie hurt and in a near-death condition. He took out his gun and shot her dead. Then the patrolman crossed the street with the gun still in hand and asked me how I was feeling. So I just said, 'I'm fine, thank you.' What would you have said?" Well, let's get started with our devotion. I will be sharing from Proverbs 24:10. And the Word of God says, "If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small." Again, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. So if we faint, if we give up, if we run away in the day of adversity and trials, it shows that our strength is small. Our trials just don't break you, although some do. And they don't always make you, although some trials do that too. But they do take you to a place where you can see how you're doing in your spiritual walk. Let's see how the Lord declares himself through Moses in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2. He says, "And you shall remember that the Lord your God led you all the way for these 40 years in the wilderness." You remember, right? The 40-year wandering. But why? It says to humble you and to test you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. You were taken on a 40-year trial to humble you and test you so that the Lord might know whether you might keep his commandments or not. A 40-year trial. Imagine that. And some of us could barely handle a few hours or a trial that's a day long. We really don't know how we're doing until we're in the middle of a trial. And then for me, it's like a mirror. Sometimes I just have to confess to God and say, "Lord, I'm not doing well with this. I don't know if I'm strong enough to handle this. I'm mad. I said some things or thought some things I probably shouldn't have. Please help me. Restore my peace. And thank you for your grace and forgiveness." We really don't know how we're doing until we're in the middle of a trial. A friend once said, "You don't know what's in that sponge in the kitchen sink until what? Until it's squeezed. Is it full of water, apple juice, soda, milk, baby barf for those of you that have babies? Well, you don't know until you squeeze it." And that's what trials do to us sponges. We get squeezed a bit so we can see where we're at. Friends, let me encourage you with this. God promises he won't give you anything you can't handle. And we as believers have the tool we need to make the right decisions. What tool, you ask? It's right here, our Bible. And we have 66 powerful tools or chapters that will give you great counsel and help you in any trial, any situation you might be facing. And that's the good news of the day. God bless.